The Athletic reported that Jesse Marsh is set to become the new Southampton head coach. Marsh was sacked by Leeds United 8 days ago, and it looks like the American will be staying in the Premier League. After a 2-1 defeat to Wolves at home on Saturday, Southampton Football Club pulled the trigger and sacked manager Nathan Jones. They're now in the hunt for a new manager as they look to pull away from the relegation zone in the Premier League.
Southampton FC are in the hunt for a new manager after Welshman Nathan Jones was sacked at the weekend following a 2-1 home defeat at St Mary's Stadium against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Daily Echo Saints supporter Benji Newick gave his thoughts as to why it did not work out for him.
Those pieces of the puzzle to match up, and I think that there were elements that were missing from the start in this, which is that I don't think Nathan Jones was necessarily ever the right person for the job. I think he was potentially, if you look at sort of the statistics of his time at Luton, which is I think what a lot of Sport Republic's decision to hire him was based off of, I think he was in a lot of ways the right manager for the job, in that the work that he did at Luton, taking a group of players who were underdogs and helping them constantly exceed their expectations.
In recent reports, it is expected that former Leeds United manager Jesse Marsh, an American international, is expected to replace him. We asked the public what their thoughts are on this decision.
I'm a bit worried it might be a bit too soon, being a Saints fan myself. I mean, I'll take anything over Nathan Jones right now, to be honest with you.
I don't think he's going to do great. He drove Leeds down to relegation. Leeds are, on paper, probably a better team than Southampton.
Southampton currently sit rock bottom of the Premier League, and with Marsh coming in, it is a tough job to take on.
Right now, I don't see anyone keeping us in the league, to be honest with you. The way Saints are playing, I just don't think anyone's going to come in and change the way they play. I don't think it's too great. You never know, the manager bounce.
Charlie Clayton, Solent Sports News.
We are very sorry there about any technical difficulties that were happening throughout that video. We now move on to the next story. Days after Nathan Jones' sacking, Solent Sports News reporter Ethan Moss-Wills took to the streets of Southampton to ask the fans' opinion on his short tenure and who should replace him.
This Sunday, Southampton sacked their second manager of the season. Nathan Jones was subject to the sack after losing 2-1 to 10-man Wolves, leaving the club dead last in the Premier League. We went to speak to some Saints fans to see what they made of the sacking and who should be next in the Southampton hot seat. What did you think of the Nathan Jones sacking the other day? Do you think it was time for him to go?
I think the appointment was pretty crazy in the first place. So, goes around, comes around, really. He wasn't cut out for it, I don't think. I think it was a bit above him, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. He had 8 games, he didn't even win. He only won the Carabao Cup, innit? I think, even against Blackpool FA Cup, second bottom of the Championship, played horrendous, did not even deserve to win it. So I personally think it was about right time to go get him out.
The question on everyone's lips is who will be next in the dugout at St Mary's. Jesse Marsh is hot favourite for the job after reported positive talks with the board yesterday. He left Leeds United little under a fortnight ago. Jesse Marsh has been linked to the job.
No.
Who would you take?
I don't know. I don't know who's out there who would come, you know. They must be mad to come and stuff. I think, realistically, they got him because they were planning for the Championship. But, you know, he hasn't come across well. Who's going to take him? You know, you see they're running the games that's left? It's awful, mate. There's 10 points there, if they're lucky. They're going down. So who's going to come to a relegation side? I don't know.
I think all the good ones have gone, to be honest. We've waited so long. I mean, I would take Dyche, definitely. Jesse Marsh, yeah, he's okay, but I don't know if obviously he's what we need right now.
So I do like the sounds of Jesse Marsh. I wish we could get Bielsa, but he doesn't want to come. So there's not really many people available at the moment. Sean Dyche would have been good, but he's gone to Everton already. So I reckon Jesse Marsh will be alright at the job, you know.
With a strong January behind them and Jesse March set to take the reins. With 16 games left to go, the Saints are still battling relegation. Do you think they'll have enough to stay up?
Southampton legend Matt Le Tissier joined Dan Baverstock at Stoneham Golf Course, where the 54-year-old discussed all things Saints, including the one player he believes has shone for the South Coast side this season.
Matt Le Tissier gets his competitive edge in golf these days as he has swapped banging goals in to making birdie putts. The Southampton legend has given his views on the recent sacking of Saints manager Nathan Jones.
But unfortunately in football, when you lose the crowd, and when the atmosphere starts getting a little bit toxic for the players to play in, it's always really difficult for a board to stick with the manager. I'm sure they would have loved to have given him a bit more time, but given the situation that we're in and the fact that we've already got rid of Ralph this season and time is running out a little bit, I think they felt like they'd been backed into a corner and had to do it.
The 54-year-old believes that the replacement manager should hold a special place to the South Coast side in their hearts.
I've always liked to have somebody at the football club who has a bit of an affinity with the club, who kind of knows how the club works, how the fans feel about the club. I mean, so you've got somebody like James Beattie, who is out of work at the moment, loves the club, knows the club inside out.
Le Tissier speaks highly of their new owners, Sport Republic, as they have been ambitious in the transfer market.
Well, they've certainly given it a go, and I think that's all the fans can ask for. The fans have been saying we need to spend a bit of money, and spent quite a lot of money in the summer as well. Unfortunately, with the money we spent in the summer, we didn't put ourselves in a good enough position, and I think that's probably the reason why Ralph went in the end, because he was given that backing, and yet we still were at the wrong end of the table.
Even with the new arrivals, the former midfielder believes that an academy prodigy still shines the brightest for Southampton when he plays.
James has been at this football club a long time, and over the last, I'd say probably the last 4 or 5 years, he's really stamped his authority on there, because it took him a little while to kind of really cement his place in the team as a regular. Dead ball, his free kicks have just been amazing in the last few years, and it's added a new dimension to the team. I think for the amount of years that James has put in here, I think he will definitely go down as a legend of the club for sure.
The love of the game on a day which is so special and so remembered for it. We finally get the midweek games back with the big clashes. And once again, the Champions League returns tonight with the first 2 fixtures in the round of 16 phase. Tottenham travel to AC Milan, but will be without Rodrigo Bentancur and World Cup runner-up Hugo Lloris, who is out for the rest of the season after tearing his ACL in the defeat at Leicester. For their clash with Bayern Munich, PSG are doubtful that Kylian Mbappe can play following a thigh injury. Bayern Munich will be without goalkeeper Manuel Neuer and Sadio Mane as well. An independent report says UEFA have taken primary responsibility for the ugly scenes that occurred before last year's Champions League final between Real Madrid and Liverpool. Fans were penned in behind the gates and tear gassed, resulting in kick-off being delayed by 36 minutes. The report also stated it was remarkable that nobody lost their life. Referee Lee Mason has stood down from VAR duty this weekend after failing to spot Christian Norgaard's offside in the build-up to Ivan Toney's equaliser against Arsenal on Saturday. Referee John Brooks was also removed from VAR duty for the foreseeable future. Lando Norris believes the F1's governing body should abandon their plans for an apparent ban on free speech for its drivers. The 23-year-old in his statement said that we should be able to say what we want, when we want. The FIA have said they will issue the guidelines of the rule in the coming days. As Harry Warner enters his final season as Solent Cricket Club captain, Solent Sports News reporter Baxter Wilson sat down with him to speak about a season-defying injury and his best memories.
Harry Warner is in his last year as Solent Cricket Club captain, but it may end in heartbreak as the skipper suffered a stress fracture in his back. The injury will probably have him out for the rest of the season, and then what has been a great start to a stellar career.
So I've sort of injured my lower back, my lower left back, so I think it's from bowling too much last year. Obviously last year we played, 17 games or 18 games all the way through. Normally it's like 2 or 3 called off in a season, sort of bowling every week, and I probably don't look after my body as well as I should be. So I think it's sort of like a stress fracture or like muscle damage. So yeah, it's a bit annoying, but we'll sort of see how it goes. And I'm speaking to the uni about it and with physio and stuff, so we'll see.
A demanding last season could be the reason Harry Warner has picked up the injury. Despite the pain, there is still an upside to this.
Yeah, it's going to affect it definitely. I think like, at the moment I can only really bat. I can't really field or bowl. And sort of obviously as an all-rounder, it's massive to bowl as well. But I think it's just like going through the process of going to uni and doing the physio and so on. I don't know if I'll be able to bowl this year. I might not be able to. So it obviously takes sort of one part away from my game, but then it means I guess I can work on my batting a bit more. So I guess there's a positive to it, yeah, definitely.
Within 2 years, Harry has seen the club grow, and with promotion last year, Harry's time at Solent has been one to remember.
It's been a few. I think just seeing like the club grow again. I think obviously before I joined, we had sort of 2 or 3 seasons out where COVID was involved and so on. So it's sort of just seeing the club grow again. Obviously getting everyone together and things like that. And then also last year, obviously being promoted again to Bucks National Prem is massive. Obviously I know I played sort of half in the 2s, half in the 1s, but sort of overseeing the club and seeing that is great, and sort of we're going in the right direction, definitely.
With this being his last season, a replacement captain is on the horizon, with 2 names set to take over.
Yeah, I have. There's 2 lads that are going to do it next year. So Josh May and Connor Griffiths, who are both playing at the moment. Yeah, I sort of no one really wanted to do it, but I sort of jumped on them because I trust those 2, and I think they'll take it fine. But I think there'll be a lot of lads next year that will chip in as well. Obviously this year we've grown our sort of committee group a bit more. I think there's now 8 of us. Obviously last year there was only sort of 2 or 3 of us, so it's definitely going in the right direction.
Baxter Wilson, Solent Sports News.
Let's return now to the big story of the day as we join Dan Williamson, who has now got a live report outside St Mary's Stadium. We are having incredible technical difficulties today, so I'm sorry to anyone who was waiting on that story. We would actually have some very key information there. However, fast bowler Stuart Broad will return to the England team ahead of their 2-match test series against New Zealand, beginning on Thursday. The 36-year-old missed the Pakistan series following the birth of his daughter. The match is scheduled to go ahead despite New Zealand declaring a state of emergency due to Cyclone Gabrielle. Ferrari have launched their new car ahead of the 2023 Formula 1 season. The Scuderia revealed the new wheels from the legendary Maranello base, with drivers Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz present. Ferrari will be looking to take home their first championship since 2007. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week for more stories and more updates. Thank you very much.